Have you ever been misunderstood or people made assumptions about you without seeking understanding? Well, I got a hilarious example of this, and it didn't just happen once, but 6 times. In this video, I'm gonna show how a bunch of people mistakenly thought I was homeless and all that came out of it. Number 1 happened in 2013 at a Scottsdale Starbucks. This guy got off the bus and he asked me what program I was in to get back on my feet. I was sitting there reading my Bible and I just chuckled. I said I wasn't in a program, but we had a good conversation. Number 2, and this is a toss-up for my favorite, happened in a Tempe Starbucks and put this homeless thing on the map. So I was sitting out at night and this couple walked by. I was just sitting there with my eyes closed because I was praying, and they said, "Do you need help?" And I said, "No, I'm great." They're like, "Oh, we're sorry. We were gonna give you $20. They apologized. They said they thought I was homeless. I chuckled and said, "No, I'm good, but I appreciate your kindness." I think they were a little embarrassed, but I assured them that it was fun and it was all good. You will not believe what happened from there. 2 weeks later, I'm at the Fiesta Bowl. I walk up to get a hot dog. There's this couple in front of me and I'm like, they look familiar. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is the couple. And I go, "Do you remember me? I'm the homeless guy." And they were like, and they were kind of freaked out and they didn't know what to do. What an amazing story. And they couldn't recognize me because I was dressed in normal clothes in the context. Then I realized they were sitting right in front of me at the game. What are the chances? Number 3 happened at one of my favorite coffee shops in Tempe, Gold Bar. And I sit across the way because it's quiet and I can concentrate. And this story is the toss-up, my favorite one. So I'm sitting there and this car pulls up and I'm like, this is interesting. This lady gets out. Oh, this is gonna get good. And she comes and sets down a banana and a water next to me. I started laughing and she said, "I felt like God wanted me to bless you." And I'm like, "Oh, you did bless me, just not in the way you thought. I'm not homeless, but my friends are gonna think this is hilarious." And I posted online and they could not stop laughing. She was awesome and we made a fun connection. We couldn't stop laughing. We talked for a half an hour. It was such a joy encounter. I went to my sister-in-law's aunt's house for Christmas in 2018. Told this story and I got this whole side of the family that I didn't really know laughing. It was hilarious. My sister-in-law's cousin said, "My uncle rarely smiles or laughs." And this story had him laughing out loud. Isn't it such a gift to be able to tell stories and have the joy of laughter? Number 4, it's probably the least eventful, but it's always great because I'm on this homeless streak. This guy walks up to me in the same spot as number 3 and he goes, "Are you homeless?" And I'm already prepared for this because it's already happened. I said, "Do you think I'm homeless?" And he says, "My head says yes and my heart says no." And I go, "Well, your heart is correct." And we just had a great conversation about life. These comments are bringing connection. Number 5. It happened at the same spot as the last 2, but it happened at a table instead of against the wall. I just got called homeless for the 5th time in my life. This lady thought that I was living in a home. I think it's because I told her I didn't have a job and we were just talking and she started talking about homelessness. I was just listening to her and then she asked me if I was living in a shelter. Isn't that wild? What's hysterical about this one that I didn't know until I was putting the video together is that it happened 4 years to the day is the number 3 incident. What are the chances? I know the owners of this awesome coffee shop in Chandler called Sozo, and they were walking by where I was at for spot 3 and 4 against the wall, and they were gonna say hi, and then they realized it was me walking and she thought I was homeless. So recall that day.
My husband and I are just walking and in front of us we see this guy like sitting against the wall and we instantly like, "Oh man, that's like a really well-dressed homeless guy." And we're like, so we approached him and then we realized it was Ryan. Ripple of joy.
And so what's I think partly is hilarious about the story is you didn't tell me that day that that I was homeless, but then once I posted online about me being homeless,
I'm like, I confess.
She confessed and came clean that this is what happened. Isn't that amazing? So why this hit home for me? Well, I think it's hilarious, but it's certainly not to make fun of people without homes. It was because I grew up around some money and did some nice things and I used to get made fun of a lot. I hated feeling judged for that and not being known for me. I don't know about you, but I hope to be seen and known not based on externals, but seen as a person through the eyes of love. I hope this video encourages you to be curious, to ask questions, and get to know someone before you make a snap judgment. Everyone has a story. I found if you get to know someone on a deeper level and ask questions, it breaks down walls and barriers. Just thought it was a hilarious example how we can mistakenly think one thing about someone, it's actually another.